Hello, this is the C-Rod's Tell Me Your Story podcast. I'm your host, C-Rod. Let me tell you a story. This story takes place in South Texas. This part of the country has been struck with poverty ever since I was a kid. It recently was hit very hard through the COVID-19 epidemic. So let's all hope for a better recovery. But this story takes place back in the late 80s and 90s. It is a story of a kid, a good kid. He always kept out of trouble, but he had one thing. With so much poverty around him, he only looked up to the hustlers, to the people who actually had something around him. When he looked up to these people, he developed an infatuation for fast cash, fast money. This infatuation had led him on to an 11-year journey that changed his life and bring him closer to God than he has ever been. This is the story of small business owner, father, and entrepreneur Anthony Cardwell. All right, we're here with our guest, Anthony. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Doing great. So that was a little piece of our story on you. Just get right into it. Can you tell me a little bit about where you're from?
I'm from Texas, South Texas.
What's it like down
It's really hot.
there? It is, man. When I went
hot.
down there, when I just came back from down there, it was so hot.
Yeah, I was born a white man, and I just roasted in the sun, and now I'm brown. Rumor has it. I don't know. Yeah.
What was it like growing up down there as a kid?
There's not a lot to do down there.
Yeah.
No. Just so damn hot. You don't want to be outside. Then when you're out there, you just burn, and there's just not a lot of. I'm old, so back in my days, there wasn't a lot of outlets for youngsters.
I know what these kids do. Me and one of my guys always talk about how there was no internet, no phones,
Nothing.
none of that stuff growing
We
up.
threw rocks at each other and sword fight with sticks.
Kick the can.
Yeah.
Kick the can.
There was just, there's no internet, man. It was boring.
Yeah.
Summer sucked. School was better.
Yeah. I can remember when Nintendo first came out, and that was the big thing.
Yes.
And I can remember playing Atari at my grandma's house in West Virginia.
Yes.
So, dang, times have really, really changed. So, now tell me, what kind of a teenager were you? What kind of experiences did you have in high school? And
as a teenager,
who was Anthony in high school?
Anthony was a butthole. I was fun to hang around. I like punching all my friends. We like to get a little violent.
You punch your friends? Why would you punch your friends?
Because that's how you show love. You hit them really hard in the ribs and make them feel funny. And but yeah, no, that's me. I was goofing around a lot. I like to get a little violent here and there. Like to play around. And I'm not about that learning crap, so I wasn't trying to go to class or nothing like that. So
yeah, but you were a bright kid though.
Yeah. I did straight A's until 8th grade, and then I rubbed my first butt cheek summer of 8th grade, and then after that I had no interest in school anymore. Dedicated to other stuff.
Some girls do
it. But that was part of it.
Yeah. So, but I think I remember you were in a gifted talented program, correct?
Yeah, until 8th grade. And then when I went to high school, they tried to make me do too much schoolwork, and I ain't having it. So I quit all that junk. And, just skip school and smoke weed. It's a lot more fun than doing homework.
Yeah, what are some stories you had from high school? What is one of your most memorable stories?
Okay, I switched high schools. Started going to a little school in Mathis, Texas, and my first day there, I come walking into school, and there's a big crowd, And I was like, what's going on? You know, some kind of crowd popping off, you know. So I go over there and I look, and there's 2 people fixing a fight. And one of them's my little brother. And and all I hear is like, now what's up? My brother's here. What's up now? So then, you know, I got a certain dominance over the crowd immediately. So I step into the crowd. I'm like, what's up? You know, I was like, what's up, bro? Who you trying to fight? This guy? All right, you, one-on-one. Anybody jumps in, getting knocked the fuck out. And, you know, I had to freak everybody. Nobody knew who I was. So everybody's like, who the fuck is this dude? I just talking mad shit, mad crap to everybody.
That's because, though, that's something, again. So we could also call this the Old Head Podcast because we're old. But we used to fight back in the day. Now these guys just shoot each other. They skip the whole. We used to shoot each other too, but we usually fought before we shot. You know what I mean? Now it's shoot and you got 15, 20 people a day getting shot in Chicago, and you got 15, 20 people getting mugged in Atlanta every day. Yeah, it's pretty different, but when you say that, it reminds me. Back in those days, we actually fought.
It was fun too. Keep you on your toes. Everybody's fine. You go home. You might get busted up a little, but you go home. Everything's fine. Yeah, shake it off. You're good.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. Like it's a different time, but we didn't have. I could say we didn't have social media hanging over our heads.
Oh,
if we got beat up, if you got beat up in the hood, you could always lie about it.
Yeah.
Man, my shoe came off, and then he hit my shirt, whatever. You could always lie about it. But nowadays, you can't lie about it because that stuff's on YouTube before you make it to the house. So we didn't have that over our head. So I think a lot of these youngsters, they don't want to go through that, so they go straight to, well, I'll shoot you. They start shooting before. Because we didn't have that over our heads, I will say.
Nah, we kept it honest.
So you're going through high school. You're kind of a goofy guy with your friends. Y'all horse around. You physical. Play around a lot. How did you get into making fast cash?
That's what everybody did in school. Everybody in my school, it was a dirty ass little school, and everybody in school was selling weed and doing coke in class and everything. There was that's how our school got down.
So not a lot of opportunities, correct?
I mean, the opportunities were there if I would have did it right. If I would have just stuck in my good classes, did my homework, I could have went to college and did everything right. But that's no fun. And I'd rather get high and hang out with some chicks after school or something than to go do a bunch of homework. So then I don't know. I wanted to smoke weed and I didn't have no money. So so I go buy a little bit, I sell a little bit, and then smoke the rest for free.
So just started supplying your habit. That's what you were doing.
Yeah.
And then when did you realize, well, hey, I could do more than supply my habit with this. I could buy some new speakers.
Yeah. Well, right after high school is when I was like, all right, I don't want to get a job.
So you did graduate high school.
I did. I graduated.
What year did you graduate high school?
99.
1999. So Tupac was killed in 96.
Yes, my freshman year.
So that's kind of how I use my, how people have AC or, after Christ or whatever.
Yeah.
I have after Pac.
Post-Pac.
So post-Pac, pre-Pac, and then post-Pac, so it gives me 90. It kind of gives me a reference of how old you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of get what you're saying. Like, everybody, it was like you weren't supposed to be anything else, right? Like, that's what you're supposed to be, right? Growing up around there, it's like all the guys who had good houses or good cars or anything, they all were like...
They're all old hustlers.
Hustlers, right? You're like, oh, that's what... So I can get that.
In a little dirt town like that, it's either... work at the gas station or sell weed.
Yeah. So then when you graduate high school, where do you do from there?
I went to college. And then I got a check every semester, like, because I got like a grant or something where the government paid for it, and I got so much money extra. So I think I got like I took home a check for like $5,000 for a semester. Went out, bought some bricks. Started hustling right there. Yeah.
So you got a loan to go to college and you used the loan money to start hustling?
Yeah, it was a grant. It was free. I didn't have to pay it back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there was no loan. I didn't owe no money. You know what I mean? Government gave it to me to go to school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when you come out of high school and you're going to college, you get a job, right? Correct? Or what are you doing?
I had a job. I got a job as a mechanic. And I had my little side hustle going. And it was going pretty well. I was doing all right for myself.
Yeah.
Building muscle cars and drag racing, having a good time.
Yeah. So what was your main hustle?
Weed for the most part at first. And then I graduated to more lucrative substances.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I wouldn't say that because things are changed big time. And a lot of the things that might have been lucrative when.
I mean, you know, I still think it's America's favorite. You know what I mean? Yeah. Rick James loved it. So, I mean.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And so things are going good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're hustling. And tell me, what happened?
Well, I had a roommate at the time, and he was being a little frivolous with who he let over to my house. And just too many people would come to my house I didn't know, and one of them's obviously snitched on me about something, and so the police wanted to come say hi to me, and they paid a little surprise visit.
Do you remember that day?
Oh, hell yeah. We was playing GoldenEye on the 64.
Oh, man, going way back.
Yeah, GoldenEye, and we was all blunted out, had a whole bunch of blunts rolled up, and I had some stuff, my stuff stashed. The two of my buddies had some stuff there, and they had it stashed. And then we heard a knock at the door. My buddy goes to answer the door. Boom, cops kick it in, put everybody on the ground. And then they found my buddy's stuff first. Then they found my other buddy's stuff. And then I was like, it's mine. Because then I knew they were going to find mine next. So then they found mine after that. So I just claimed it all so nobody gets in trouble. And then I was like, I got it. Whatever. Yeah. I had so much I was going to get in trouble regardless. Their little shit ain't going to make too big a difference. So
yeah.
Kept my homies out of jail. And I just had to take a little vacation.
Yeah. So the cops come in, you get raided. Do you bail out right away?
No, man. They pat me down. They pat everybody down. And when they patted me, hell, they missed. I had brass knuckles in my back pocket. I had an 8-ball in my shirt pocket. Cops never even found it. And then, hell, one of the cops, I wasn't even handcuffed. And one of the cops took me into the back room to talk to me, try to get info from me or whatever. Hell, I could have just pulled the knuckles out and cracked them and jumped out the window and left. You know what I mean? But I wasn't trying to do all that. I was like, whatever. I was like, just look. They're like, what else you got? And I was like, look for it. You find it, you can have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that's it. They took me to jail.
Did you stay in the county for a while, or?
Yeah, I stayed locked up for a hot minute. I got out on bail. I had some money laid out, and I got one of my buddies to go take it in and pay my bail for me. I get out on bail.
Your dad sells all your stuff?
Yes, everything in my house got sold. Had a bunch of cash stashed, and that got thrown away by accident because I couldn't get people to get the stuff I needed them to get for me at my house.
Oh, wow.
So I get out of jail. I ain't got nowhere to go, nothing to do. I stayed with my stepsister for a little while. I was like, whatever, man. I just do my time and get out, whatever. You know, I'm young. I don't care. I'll go do 5 or 10. Ain't nothing, no biggie, right? So I go to court, and they offered me a plea bargain, and it was 3 counts, or it was, they gave me, they were offering 3 counts of 33 years. So it would have been 99 years, and the plea bargain was to run them all concurrent. So it'd be one sentence of 33 years.
What was the exact charge? Do you remember?
Oh, man, I had many pounds of marijuana and like half a key of cocaine and guns and a bunch of other stuff.
You had a school across the street from your house, you say?
No, it wasn't a school. There's a daycare that was like 2 blocks away. They were trying to count that as a school zone on me, but I don't know. But yeah, they tried to give me 33 years on that. On a plea bargain. Yeah, 33 years on a plea bargain. That's it's not much of a bargain there. You know what I mean? That's not a bargain. I'm a bargain shopper, and that's a no deal on that one. So.
And so you come out, and then what do you decide?
I stuck around. I paid my lawyer a lot of money. I want to see what he could do for me. My lawyer never even called me back. I called him lots of times. After I sent him the check, the cash, he quit answering my phone calls.
Oh, wow.
And then, so it was a couple of days before I had to go to court, and I ain't even heard from my lawyer. I don't even know what they're going to try to give me. I don't know if he got me a better deal.
Wow.
And I was just like, I'm good. I'm going. So I split.
So you split where?
I went to Mexico. Why not?
So how did the plan, or how did that come to fruition?
I took a bus.
Did you just decide on your own?
Yeah.
Did you? Because did somebody help you, or did you just go on your own?
I mean, that was my idea. Whether I'd help or not, I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? You never want to implicate people after the fact. But I ended up taking a bus to Mexico. Yeah.
And then, what was that like?
It was dope. Mexico's nice. It's beautiful. Yeah. A lot of beautiful women. And I got down there. I sold my car before I left, so I had some cash when I went down there. And so everything's cheap, super cheap down there. I got a nice little apartment. Just kind of hung out. Just sat around doing nothing. Laying low and just hanging out and relaxing, living a regular life.
So just to get people, if you're just stepping into the podcast, Tell Me Your Story podcast, just to get people caught up, you get caught up on these charges.
Yeah.
You go to court. You say, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do my time. And then, whatever happens from there. You go to court and they offer you a 33-year plea because they're trying to, they're offering you 99 years, but they're saying we'll run 99 years concurrent. And that's because there's a nursery 2 blocks from where you got caught with all these narcotics, correct?
Correct.
You leave the courthouse and you say, F you.
Not right away. I sat on it and thought for a little bit, but I decided that's not for me.
And then you go up the road after this. You go up the road a few months later, and you find yourself on a Greyhound, correct?
Yeah.
On a Greyhound to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And then where did you go in Mexico?
Nuevo Laredo.
Okay.
It's good times. I hung out. I was just living it up, just hanging out down there, keeping low profile. I met this guy down there. His name was Rick. He's from Chicago, an old dude. And he was like all into God and Jesus real bad and stuff, like, but not like in a bad way, just, you know what I mean? He's a very religious man. And I met him. He had an old car and it broke down, and I seen him out there, and he was speaking English. So, I hadn't talked to English nobody for like 6 months. So it's nice to hear a little English. So I went and talked to him. I fixed his car for him. We and becoming buddies. I'd work on a bunch of his cars for him, and he paid me good. And he was always talking about Jesus and God and stuff. And that's kind of where that seed first got planted in my brain. And then from there, I was like, I just got bored in Nuevo Laredo.
Oh.
It sucked. It's right on the border. It's boring. It's dirty.
Yeah. So you leave?
Yeah, I took a bus across Mexico.
What happened to Rick?
Rick, actually, he went back to Chicago. And he was supposed to come back later, but I never seen him again after that. I hope he's doing all right to this day. I don't know.
Shout out to Rick. Shout out to Rick, wherever you at.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rick.
So I took a bus across Mexico. And that was the craziest damn thing I've ever done.
Like, what do you mean across Mexico?
Okay, so from the Gulf of Mexico side all the way to the other side, below
Like
California
Baja
side.
Cala? What's
Yeah,
it called?
the Sea of Cortez.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I take this bus across, and
How long of a journey was this?
oh man, it was really long, really really long. I don't even remember. It took forever. And I remember going across. We were going through the deserts of Mexico, and we started going up this hill, and it was like a mountainside, and we got all the way up to the top of the mountain. We're so high it's in the desert, and we're so high in the mountains. There's snow.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, Lord, man, this is crazy. And the road is like, it's like a bicycle path, how skinny it is. And we're in a bus, and there's other buses coming the opposite way, and they were like almost touching, scraping as they scrape by each other. And I'm looking out the window, and I can't even see the road. All I could just see straight off a cliff, like thousands of feet down. And I was just like, dang.
It's not like an American road.
No, man, that was the sketchiest thing ever. It started making me feel sick. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die on this bus. And as the whole trip, I kept looking down, and I saw like a bunch of like dust at the bottom, like specks, like black specks all across, all the way down this whole road. And this is a long road through the mountains and stuff. And I keep seeing all these like, look like pepper down there. We get to the end of the mountain, and we're coming down the mountainside. And as we look closer, I noticed all those black specks were cars. Cars. Thousands of cars that have fallen off this mountain cliff. And I guess exploded. It caught fire down at the bottom.
Jesus.
But there's like thousands of cars down there. And I was like, oh, snap, I'm not doing that again.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so.
Do you remember where that's at?
I don't know.
Sorry,
Somewhere in
guys,
the
no
Sonora
warnings.
Desert. Somewhere in the Sonora Desert.
Oh, wow.
And so we come off that mountain, and we're driving through, and we get stopped by Mexican military. They said they're Mexican military, but they didn't look real, like official.
Oh, no.
It looked like some people just dressed up and stuff.
Cartel
They had
members.
some drug dog, like a canine. It looked like some stray coyote they found and just put a leash on it. And so they go up on the bus, right, and they start asking everybody, who's Mexican, who's not Mexican, and this and that. And they're like, if you're not Mexican, raise your hand. And I was like, I was fixing to raise it, and the dude next to me grabbed my arm. He's like, don't do that. He's telling me Spanish. No. Just like, be quiet. And I was like, oh, okay. So then they start checking everybody who's not Mexican, and they tell them, get off the bus. We're going to search you. So they get off the bus. I stay on the bus, right? And the guy was like, you're Mexican. Tell him you're Mexican. So those Mexican army guys start walking down the bus, checking papers. They get to me, and I'm telling them in Spanish. By then I've been living there a couple of years. About a year, so my Spanish was pretty good, and I knew Spanish already anyways. And so I tell him, nah, I'm Mexican. He's like, where's your papers? I was like, I lost my wallet. I don't have nothing. And he's like, all right, whatever. And so they just let me alone. And they took like 6 people off the bus, and that bus left without them. Those 6 people, they took their bags and everything, and we left them 6 people on the side of a desert highway with some fake-looking Mexican military people.
Jesus.
So I don't know if any of them ever got. They probably stayed in that desert.
That guy saved your life.
Yeah, probably. So
did he tell you like afterwards, like, you dummy, why were you gonna raise your hand?
I don't know. I bought him some tacos on the next stop. You know what I mean? I was like, I got you, bro. I was like, you hungry? Yeah. He was like, you hungry, bro? There's tacos and a Coke's on me, buddy. Like, so I got all the way to Puerto Penasco, which is on the Sea of Cortez, right below Arizona, and that's where I ended up hanging out for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And I hung out there it was about a year.
Who were you there with? Were you just by yourself the whole time, or did you make friends?
I was there by myself for a while, and then I was there with a couple Americans. Doesn't really matter where I met them or whatnot, but there's a couple Americans there, and we ended up renting a place together. And there's this old couple, old white couple, Keith and Yvonne, former Air Force, both of them. Seemed like good people and stuff. And, I'd been living there, living good. Everything was great. Had a little job. I was working at a fetateria up the street.
What's a fetateria?
It was like a lumber yard, a Mexican lumber yard. And I was working on the cars and stuff and keeping their trucks running. Just, as like a general mechanic. Making good money. Everything was nice. There's a beach. I lived like a couple blocks from the beach. Life was good. And then one day the cops kicked in my door there in Mexico.
Oh no.
My bedroom door. So they got in the house. And in Mexico, they're not allowed in your house. It takes them like 30 days to get a warrant. So somebody let them in the house.
Oh wow.
And they go in my room. I fight like 8 cops. And they're like beating the crap out of me. I'm fighting them. It's like a brutal fight. I'm like in my underwear. Like it's just,
Oh wow.
just I was in the middle of a sleep and I got woke up to fighting cops. And so after a while, they hit me with some sticks and stuff. I kind of got a little dizzy. And the next thing I know, I'm being pinned against the wall, and I'm watching these cops steal all my money out my dresser, all my jewelry. They're taking everything, all my stuff.
Oh, wow.
And they carry me out to go take me to jail. And on the way out, I'm like, I still don't know what's going on. I see Keith outside, and I was like, hey, Keith, what happened? He goes, shut the hell up. And I was like, oh, man. So
turned you in.
Yeah, so no, well, what he did is I ended up going to jail in Mexico. And he had told the Mexican police that I was selling drugs in Mexico. And the reason why he did that was to get me locked up. While I was locked up, they stole the rest of my stuff. And then they split.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they robbed me, and then they split. And then...
so they just basically... So they didn't know that you were wanted. They just made up a story about you, correct?
They knew I was wanted.
Oh.
But they just made that story up just to screw me over.
Oh, wow.
And so...
How long were you in the Mexican jail?
2 weeks.
And what was that? What was that experience?
It was a large room with a dirt floor, bars. There's a hole in the back corner with a water spigot above it, and that's where you poop. That's where you pee. That's where you drink out that water spigot. That's where you wash up out that water spigot. It's a nasty little place. They didn't feed me at all. No food. No, nothing. Just water out that spigot. And
you didn't eat for 2 weeks?
I did once. And so
Jesus.
after like 3 days, I still don't even know what I'm in there for. I just know, Keith and Vaughn has something to do with it, but I don't know what. Yeah. Finally, the cop comes up to me and he goes, and I was like, bro, did I get a phone call or something? He's like, $5,000. I said, for what? He's like, to get out. I said, I don't have $5,000. And he's all like, well, call somebody and tell them to send you $5,000. We'll let you out. I was like, for what? What the hell did I even do? He says, you going to call anybody or not? I was like, I don't even know what I did wrong yet. And he's like, okay. And he left. 2 days later, he came back again. And he was like, it's $5,000. And I was like, what'd I do? Like, you at least got to tell me what I'm charged of or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I said, let me make a phone call. He goes, no. And it says, unless you're sending money, you're not going to use the phone. I said, well, let me just call somebody and tell them I'm here. He's like, no. He's like, it's money. You're going to call somebody to bring you money. I was like, nobody has money like that. I don't know nobody with no money. And then he goes and he comes back and he goes, is this your watch? I said, yeah, that's my watch. He's like, I like it. I said, I like it too. It's my damn watch. And he goes, I better just keep the watch. And I was like, do I get my phone call? He goes, I'll think about it. And he kept my watch and left. So 2 days later, he comes back again. And this time, now I'm hungry. I've been in there over a week. I'm just like, bro, do you know what I mean? And he goes, money. We need the money. He says, give me $2,000. We'll let you out. I said, I had $2,000. Y'all stole it from me. I had more than that. He's like, who stole it? I was like, that cop sitting right there. He was one of the ones that took all my money. So he goes over there and talks to that cop. They talk for a little while, and then they both leave. And just leave me there. And during the second week, halfway through the second week, this old man that was in there sitting with me almost this whole time, his family comes and they bring him 4 tacos and a Coke. And he gave me a taco and he split the Coke with me.
Wow.
Bro, I almost cried, bro. It was so delicious. And I was so hungry.
In a Mexican jail cell, almost to tears.
Yeah, bro, because I hadn't eaten in a week and a half. And this old man gave me one of his tacos.
Wow. And
half his Coke. It was amazing. And then a couple young kids came in, and they were giving that old man crap, and I threatened to kill him. I meant it. I was like, I will beat you to death right here in this room. Y'all leave that old man alone. Yeah. So they left him alone. And then a couple more days goes by. Right around 2 weeks, the cop came, and he goes, you're leaving. I was like, where am I going? He's like, we're going to deport you for Mexico. I was like, I'm getting deported? And they're like, yeah. You're not allowed to come back. Get out of here. They deported me. So I got deported to Lookview, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And they drove me up there, dropped me off at the border with the Border Patrol. Border Patrol was like, man, what'd you do to get deported? I told them what happened, and they're like, "Oh man, that sucks," you know. And they're like, "All right, well, we'll let you go. We just got to run a quick little background check on you." And they pulled up my warrants, of course. So I ended up going to jail in Arizona. They sent me to Tucson. I went to jail in Phoenix, and then they moved me to Tucson. Yeah, I think that's how it went. And then so I sat in jail there, and my quote-unquote attorney was a really nice lady. She was a Hawaiian lady. Can't remember her name. She had a real crazy Hawaiian name, and she gave me some advice because I was about to sign some extradition papers and stuff so they could send me back to Texas. She said, "Don't sign it." And I said, "Well, what do I do?" And she said, "You file for a writ of habeas corpus. It's wrongful incarceration." And I said, "And then what?" And she said, "And then Texas has to come and identify you. They got to run your print. They got to send a fingerprint specialist, check your prints, check your name, check everything. And then once they properly identify you, then they can extradite you." So I was like, "Word, let's do that." We filed that. 90 days in jail. Texas didn't come get me. So they had to release me.
Wow.
Yeah. That lawyer was clutch, man.
All right, we're back at you with the Tell Me Your Story podcast. Just a reminder to click the links below and check out our Etsy store. We have some of the dopest T-shirts out there. And also check out our eBay store. We have some really nice sports cards, a ton of autos, and everything you're looking for. Also, you could check out our Patreon, join our Patreon if you want a full uncut version of this episode. Then you just click the link below and check out our Patreon. But back to it, I'm talking to my guest, Anthony Cardwell, small business owner in Huntington, West Virginia. And he's telling us his story from hustler to fugitive to successful entrepreneur. We just got back to let you know where we're at. If for those of you just joining, he was just released from Arizona County Jail, I presume.
Yeah, from Tucson County Jail.
And because he filed, what is it called again?
Habeas corpus.
He filed habeas corpus, and the state of Texas doesn't come retrieve him, and so the state of Arizona releases him back into
my natural habitat.
Back into his natural habitat. All right.
Back onto the streets.
Now that I actually got through that. So what, you come out.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? What am I going to do? I just beat the system. What am I doing?
Yeah. So while I was locked up, I met some cool people and stuff. And one of my homies in there, they said if I got out, I could go crash over at his spot for a minute. So I went over to his place, crashed out there, called somebody in Texas, and they came and got me. And they gave me a ride back into Mexico. And ended up going down to Tampico, Tamaulipas.
Okay.
And then that's right above Veracruz, like halfway down the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
From Texas down.
Did you take another bus trip?
Yes. And
was it just as extreme?
Yeah, it was equally bad.
Tell us about the bus trip.
The same, bro. The same. Basically the same thing. The one thing I swore I'd never do again, I just did it again.
Did they have awful. Mountains again?
Yes, everything. It was awful. Didn't like it at all. I won't do that
How
again.
long of a bus ride was this one? Not as long, though, I presume.
No, it's the same.
Was it really?
Yeah, it's really the same. Man, I don't even remember.
Did you meet any characters?
Day and a half.
I remember riding the bus one time when I was a kid from Alabama to Corpus Christi, and I met the craziest, weirdest people. And I actually had a great time, but I could imagine making a trip like that and so deep into Mexico.
Yeah, it's wild. It's different.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. We had a couple more military stops and some fake looking police stops and all kinds of stuff, man. And
yeah.
You got to remember, when you're in Mexico, you're Mexican. You don't want to be you don't want to be a foreigner down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the whole time I was down there, I had a visa. I bought a visa when I first went. It's for 6 months, and it expired a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't even supposed to go back into the country because they deported me. And I went back anyways. I was like, I don't care. So I just went back and went to Tampico, Tamaulipas, and I was pretty awesome down there.
So you were an illegal immigrant in Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And then so you're down there,
Yeah.
and so what do you do? Do you just go out and get an apartment and start living out of it, or what do you do?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's exactly what I did. I went down there. I got an apartment. My apartment was $50 a month, and like the electric bill was like $75 every 2 months.
Yeah.
And that was it. There's no other bills. And let's see here. I got my apartment, and then I would I had a set of clippers that I always carried around just for my own hair. I started cutting all the kids' hair in the neighborhood, and they'd give me like a couple bucks here and there. You know what I mean? And some of them I cut for free, and the families would make me pancakes or whatever, invite me over for dinner, lunch. And then the whole time I was doing tattoos down there in Mexico. I had a homemade machine that I made, and that's how I was making my money down there. I was tattooing and doing haircuts.
Oh wow!
And I made enough to pay all my bills and eat, and it was good living down there. Tampico's nice, man.
Yeah. Well, we were talking before, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think you remember telling me a story of somebody trying to rob you, a couple guys trying to rob you, which is insane to me because in that part of the country, how tall are you? 6'2"?
Yeah.
6'2", 6'3", and how much?
At that time, I was like about 200 pounds.
I mean, that's a big old guy for that part of the country. I say you towered over most of the people you're around. Am I wrong? Or,
yeah.
Like, who the hell would try to rob you? Like, did this happen? Like,
they just tried to snatch my chain, and I had a really big, thick silver chain, and they tried to snatch it and run, and it wouldn't break when they tried to yank it off me. So I snatched them up, and I beat them both to a pulp, and
yeah. So
it was good times.
Now, correct me if you might have been pulling my chain on this, but is it true you beat these guys up, and in Mexico, for people that are familiar, they have these balconies, and on these balconies, there's washboards, and the old ladies and the mothers sit on these balconies, and they wash their clothes on these washboards, and they gossip with each other.
Yes.
Now, is it true? Now, you might have been pulling my chain, but these old ladies witness this and start telling each other about you, and then there become rumors that you're some kind of karate guy or something along them lines. Yeah. Like, maybe you could fill me in on what's going on here.
Yeah. I was known for beating people up down there, and it got pretty crazy. Me and I met this dude down there. He became my best friend down there. I almost treated him like a little brother. He's a really good dude. His name was Jesus. Everybody called him Chewy. Okay. And he's good people. And me and him down there, we was wild, man. Like, for instance, some of the kids in the neighborhood got into it with some other group of kids from another neighborhood. And myself at the time, I'm like 19 years old. And these kids, I say kids, but they were like 16, 17, 18, somewhere in that range. They got into it with a big group from couple blocks down. They come over, and it's like 30 on 30 out in the street, right? Everybody, they're facing off, fixing to throw down this big ass fight. And me and Chewy, we were inside smoking, right? And we're looking out the window, we're like, let's go, right? So we walk out there, and we're all, hot stuff. We walk out in the middle of the crowd. We're like pushing everybody out the way. They're like, "What's up? Who's the best? Who's the best?" I was like, "I want the best. I don't fight the little weaklings. Give me the best." And everybody's freaking out. You know what I mean? We're like snatching people up and roughing them up. We're like, "Who's the best? Don't be scared." And
so
like,
the way I picture this is
Mexico, bro. It's crazy down there.
Well, no, it's just because you have such a size advantage down there. I can imagine it being.
I know, that's where the confidence comes from. Everybody's small. I was like, it's like beating up children. I was like
a bunch of like Lord of the Rings, and somebody brings in a big giant.
Nah, there's some people down there bigger than me. There's a dude named Manolo, and this dude was like 6'6".
Wow.
300 pounds. He's a big old giant dude, but he was a big teddy bear, but he was cool as hell.
Yeah, most of them are.
Yeah, man. Nah, we used to. It was fun, man. We'd hang around and played this King of Fighters on this arcade machine right outside the local store down there, and We just smoke and play video games. And all I did was tattoo, cut hair, and work out. That's all I did. I used to work out every day religiously, nonstop. I was in great shape. Life was good. The weed was cheap. The tortillas were cheap. Like it was good, man.
So you liked it down there.
I loved it down there.
So why that brings me into the second part of the interview. Why did you come back?
My mom begged me to come back.
Oh, mama.
I didn't want to come back.
Yeah, mama.
I don't want to come back for it. I'm facing charges in Texas. I come back, they lock me up. I go to prison the rest of my
life.
So
how did that happen then?
She just begged me to come back. Said she missed me, wanted me to come back. I was living good. I was scared to come back because I was like, they're going to lock me up. But then I was like, you know what? I'll come back for a little bit. And as long as I stay out of trouble, whatever, it should be all right. And then I'll just go back later.
How does this happen?
I just drove across the border.
Yeah.
That was it. I still had my ID card from when I lived in Texas. And the border, they don't scan your ID. They just look at it to make sure you're a citizen.
Oh.
They don't actually run it to test you, see if you got warrants and stuff. There's so many people going back and forth that they don't even check you like that. As long as you're a citizen, they're like, go on with it. So I went through there. I went through the checkpoint. Same thing. They just make sure you're a citizen. They just let you go. I went all the way back. I went up into San Antonio and was hanging out with family up there. And then I was ready to go back to Mexico, really, because being in Texas made me nervous, bro. I was like, man, they're going to lock me up. It's like, I don't want to be here. And then somebody mentioned about going up to West Virginia. I got some family up there, and they're like, why don't you go up there? And I was like, man, I ain't even met this family. It's part of my stepdad's family, and I met them a couple times as a kid. I don't really know them, and they're like, yeah, go up there. And they talked to them and said it was cool, and I was like, yeah, what the hell? I'll go up there. I figured if I get arrested, it'd be the same thing as Arizona. I'd file habeas corpus, and they'd just let me go.
Yeah.
So I ended up going up to West Virginia, and I just started living up there and got a job up there. Still tattooing on the side. Got a job as a pastry chef. Started off with the dishwasher. Yeah. And then I worked my way up to pastry chef. Started making wedding cakes and stuff like that. It's weird.
Tell us a little bit about that. Do you still know how?
Yeah. Still make stuff, yeah.
And did you make it from scratch? Or?
Of course, everything. Scratch. I'm taught by the old Frenchman.
Yeah?
Yep. Francois, he taught me how to make it all.
Old Frenchman, huh? What happened to him?
I seen him last maybe about 5 years ago, and his shop closed down. And I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he went back to France, if he just retired somewhere, or I don't know. But he's closed down now. But yeah, man, I was making wedding cakes doing that. I got this girl pregnant, so I was planning on going back to Mexico or doing something, but I didn't really. But I got her pregnant, so I had to stick around.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. We had to take a little quick intermission. So you come back, you get a girl pregnant.
Yes.
So now you're kind of stuck.
I'm stuck up here. My daughter's like 6 months old. My girl's slapping me in the car while I'm driving because she's absolutely crazy.
Like what? And, hold on. Let's unpack this. Why are you being assaulted by your?
She's crazy. She's crazy. I don't even remember. I don't even remember what I did. No, I don't.
So you're driving down the road.
Yeah, she's fighting with me in the car. I get pulled over. The cop's like, what are y'all doing? I didn't have no insurance. Didn't have no tags. I was riding dirty as hell. And I couldn't get a driver's license, you know what I mean? Because I had warrants and stuff. So he checks me out. He finds out I got warrants in Texas. He's like, you're going to jail. And
wow.
She's like, what are you talking about warrants? She didn't even know nothing about it. And then I was like, you stupid ass. That's why I told you not to be hitting me while we're driving. You know what I mean? And so I go to jail in West Virginia.
So she had no clue.
No clue.
Nobody had no clue.
Nobody had no clue. Loose lips sink ships. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to keep your mouth shut sometimes. And so I get locked up in West Virginia, and I file habeas corpus again. It's like, I know this trick. It works. And I sat in there, and I was sitting out my habeas corpus, and I was about 60 days in. It takes 90 days to get out. I was a little over 60 days in, and one of the officers came up to the into my pod and was like, yo, you're out, or you're leaving. And I was like, damn, I'm going to Texas. You know what I mean? Because my 90 days wasn't up. So I'm like, they got me. They got me. I'm finally going back to Texas and go do my charges. So I go up to the front. They had me change out into my regular clothes I got arrested in and stuff. And they gave me a big stack of papers, and they walked me out the front door. And I was like, man, there's going to be like a Texas Marshal or something out here waiting on me. And I walked out the front door. There ain't nobody there. I just look around. I was just like, all right. So I just start walking. I was like, I ain't going to stick around and see what happens. So I start walking. I take off. And as I'm walking, I'm reading the papers. And while I was locked up, my court-appointed attorney, I asked him to send Texas a letter stating that if they're not going to extradite me, just quit arresting me. If I outside the state of Texas, just stop arresting me. But drop the charges, or drop the countrywide warrant. You know, just leave it in the state of Texas only. I won't go back to the state of Texas. But if you're not gonna extradite me, you're just wasting my time. You're wasting taxpayer money. Just, you know what I mean. So he sent him a letter like that. So as I'm walking away from the jail, I read the letters and it says all charges dismissed. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like dismissed. And I said due to lack of witnesses. And so I was like, okay. And then turns to find out. I find out later on that, like years later, that the guy who snitched on me, he's gone. Some of the officers involved in my arrest got fired. Some of them went to jail, and they're on charges for other stuff. They're crooked. Just everything. Everybody involved in my case, it all fell apart. So they dismissed everything. They just let it go. And I got lucky. So at that point, I'm free man now. You know what I mean? 11 years on the run, and I'm totally free. So
people just joining us. We're talking with Anthony Cardwell, small business owner in Huntington, West Virginia. He's telling us about his story, going from a hustler to fugitive to successful entrepreneur.
All right.
11 years. 11 years.
Yeah.
That is a journey. 11 years journey. If you would have just did 11 years, but they weren't offering 11 years.
They're offering like 30 something.
Yeah, it could have been almost the same journey, right?
Yeah.
Right, but it would have been.
But I had a lot more fun not being locked up. You know? Like Mexico's great.
After 11 years, like, what do you say, or what can you? So you get that letter sitting. You get it in the mail?
No, they handed it to me when I walk out.
Oh.
So I'm like walking home from jail,
reading the letter,
reading the paperwork they gave me.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm with you. So you're
like
reading this paperwork.
Yeah, and it says I'm free.
So after 60 days, so you spent 2 months in the county.
Right.
And you're thinking, they say, hey, you're coming with us one day. And you're thinking, obviously, my 90 days hasn't passed, so they're going to come take me to Texas.
Yes.
And instead, they hand you a letter and tell you to get the hell out of here.
Yes.
And you take off walking, and you're reading this letter.
Yes.
And then the letter says
you're a free man.
You're a free man. No more charges have been dismissed. And later on, you find out that
everybody involved just went to hell, and so they didn't have a case on me no more.
So
so they just let it go.
So to be more precise, the police officers involved were dismissed from their duty for different reasons.
Yes.
And the witness involved passed away.
Yes.
So there was nobody left to atone for it. So that Texas just says, screw it.
Yeah.
And
just like that.
And then so
I was like, cool.
You take that. So what do you do?
So I go home. My girl's freaking out because I'm free. She never thought she was going to see me again ever. And so I'm just there free, and I'm just like, I can do anything now. You know what I mean? Because before I had minimum wage job, you know what I mean, and just because they don't ask no questions, no background check, and I was like, man, I can do something now. It's like, so
you don't gotta be a fugitive,
right? So I was like, first thing I want to do is get a good job. I'm tired of being broke. I've been broke for years. So we moved to Lexington, and I got a job for Apple. Yeah, and I was making good money. Yeah. Real good money working for Apple. Yeah. And I was finally able to start do something, trying to improve. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be poor forever.
No.
So
Especially when you come from nothing. I know
Right.
personally where you come from, and you
Yeah.
come from nothing.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to do something. You know what I mean? I'm too smart to live broke. I ain't having it.
Yeah.
So I worked for Apple. I started making good money.
You're still with the crazy girl at the time?
Still with the crazy girl. And then we ended up splitting up. And when we split up, I was like, well, I'm free. I got this good job. I'm still making money, but I don't have a driver's license yet. I still have warrants in Texas, but nothing big. They're like for speeding tickets that are super old and all kinds of stuff. I owe like $12,000 in fines and all that, so I can't get my license back. So I said, well, I'm going to go back to Texas. I'm free. They can't, you know what I mean? So I go back to Texas.
It's a big F you to Texas.
Right. Well, I mean, they let me go, so I'm going to go try to make it right. So I go back to Texas. I get a job down there. I stay in with a buddy of mine. And I stay between his house and my stepsister's house. And I get a job. I start paying all my fines. All my whole check's going to fines.
Oh, wow.
I finally get it all paid off after about 6 months. I go get my driver's license for the first time in 12 years. So now I got a driver's license. All my fines are gone. I paid everything. No warrants. I got a completely clean record.
Wow.
My charges were dismissed, so I got no felonies on my nothing.
Wow.
100% clean record now.
Wow.
And then it turns out my ex-girl, she screwed up, and I had to rush back to West Virginia to get custody of my daughter. Yeah. So I rush back. I go to court. They try to tell me that I'm a neglect father, this and that. I prove otherwise, where I've been paying child support. The mother lied. So then they try to say that I was a criminal and I can't have my daughter. But then I was like, you check the paperwork, all charges dismissed.
Not a criminal.
You can't hold it against me. Yeah. I was arrested for it. I was indicted for it, but I was dismissed. Yeah. Therefore, it's off my record. It don't count.
Yeah, I'm not a criminal.
And the state was trying to say that I was, and the judge supported me. He said, no, legally he's innocent. He was found innocent. He's no charges. Give him his daughter.
Trying to abuse your rights is what happened.
So I got full custody of my daughter. She was 2, and I've had her ever since. She's 14 now, and so I did that, and I got a job delivering auto parts. And as I'm delivering auto parts, saving up my money, saving up my income tax every year. And then I'm still tattooing on the side. My buddy Eric, he owns a tattoo shop in town. I'm working for him here and there.
So at this point, you have been tattooing since a teenager, correct?
Yes. So at that point, I already had I would have been like 33, tattooing since 15. So about 18 years. Is that right? 18? Does that sound right? 15 to 33? 18 years, yeah.
And
I've had about 18 years tattooing already at this point.
And not to get, sidetracked, but how did you get into tattooing? I mean, did you just decide one day at 15 years old? That also goes back to the school you went to. That's probably that was the norm, kids selling dope and give me tattoos. But what was the tell me about that.
Well, I've always drawn. I draw in class. I don't do schoolwork. I draw pictures and stuff. And so a couple of buddies of mine, they stole their older brother's tattoo machine, tattooed roses on each other's shoulders that looked like absolute crap. They came to me and asked me if I could fix it, and I was like, hey, I don't know how to tattoo. They're like, well, you draw really good. I was like, man, I don't know how to do it. They're like, we'll smoke you out and give you $20. I was like, let's run it. So I hit them up with the tat. We got all high as hell. I tatted them up. I put a skull wearing a top hat covering it and stuff. It looked okay, you know what I mean, for first shot at it. And everybody in school loved it, and I started tattooing up everybody in school and stuff. And
just moves on.
That's how I started going from there.
Through this whole 11-year fugitive journey through Mexico, through from Nuevo Laredo to Baja, Cali, to Arizona, back down to Tampico. You've been tattooing this whole time.
The whole time. That's how I was making my bread. That's how I was eating.
Oh, so that's basically what you were doing this whole time.
That's how I survived.
So then you get to West Virginia.
Right.
You have custody of your daughter.
Yes.
You beat all the charges.
Yes.
You're working, delivering parts, and you're saving your money.
Yes.
And then so you just decide.
Well, I was the plan. I had a little bit of money saved up, and I was gonna save up a couple more income taxes, maybe like another 2 years. So I was gonna go to Texas. I was gonna buy a couple acres of land, buy a little mobile home, throw it on it, buy a double wide or something, and it'd be paid off cash. So then I have a house, I got land, I have a car, everything's paid for. Then I get a job, and all I'm doing is paying utilities and, the rest is spending money, and that way I'd have a good little start.
And you're a single dad this whole time too,
yeah,
correct?
So, single dad. So I figured we'd own our house, we'd own a little piece of land. You know what I mean? It'd be all right. And then, but before I left to Texas, my buddy Eric hits me up, and he's like, bro, I'm going to sell this tattoo shop. I'm done with it. I don't want nothing else to do with it. And I was like, well, give me a price. He's like, bro, you can't come up with that. This and that. So give me a price. Let me see what I can do. So he gave me a price on it. And, I had money saved up. And then I checked into a 401k that I had back in Texas before I got in trouble with my job there. And it actually turned out to be a good chunk of money in there. So I took that money out, plus the money from my income tax, and I was going to buy this tattoo shop, but I was still short. So I got a loan from a family member, and then a small loan, and I was able to buy the shop. And then I paid back the family member in monthly payments. And, that's how I got the shop. That's how it all started. I just kind of fell into place right there.
And the shop, so what a lot of people don't realize, or you hear a lot of people say, oh, I want to be a business, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to do this. But when you launch a business, and I've done this several times already, it's freaking hard.
Yes.
So I've never bought a business that's been pre-owned yet. Okay, I take that back. I've never bought a business that was already running.
Right.
So every time that I've launched a business, it was Jesus. It was so much work. Yeah. Was that the same experience that you had?
Yeah. So basically, the shop was like a little hole in the wall shop. They were barely making any money. Sometimes they wouldn't make money. Sometimes they were losing money. And I would work there on occasion for my buddy, and I seen what the problems were. So I had a pretty good idea how to fix it, how to redo everything. And so when I got the business, the first year I ended up having to sell all the cars I had, everything I had. Lost money the first year.
Yeah.
Second year, I started making money. And then it just got better every year since. But what I changed is I had a bunch of people working there that were into drugs. I had to fire all of them.
Of course.
Then I had people there that were stealing. Had to fire them. Then the people that were left were doing crappy work to try to get paid. They'd rather do a quick tattoo in an hour for $100 and then be done with it and then move on to the next one. And I'd had to go in and tell them we're not doing that no more. That tattoo, instead of taking an hour and making $100, make it take 4 hours. Take 4 hours of your time to do that same tattoo.
Correct.
Then they'd complain. They're like, we're not gonna make no money. I'm gonna spend 4 hours for $100 tattoo. I said, no, then charge them $400. And then, but do it right. Take 4 hours, charge them $400. Pay for your time.
Quality first.
Right. And then they're like, nobody's gonna do that. And I was like, they will if you do it right. They'll pay for the quality if you're gonna give them the quality. And they complained about it, but we started doing it anyways. I was like, you don't want to do it, you can go work somewhere else. I don't care. And I stuck to it. The first year, we lost a little money because people just didn't know. I renamed the shop, I remodeled it. And then the second year, our reputation started getting out. We started picking up real good. Second year, I made like 30 grand or something. Finally, a little profit. Third year, just kept growing. Third year, I was making like 80 to 90.
Yeah.
Fourth year, 100, 120.
Yeah.
Fifth year, started kid, just kept going up. And every year, we're on our 8th year now, and it's gone up good. Every year, I've gone up at least $50,000 a year in money that I make.
Nice.
So,
well, what most people, I think most young people, And a lot of even people my age who haven't lived the same life as us, if you're making $100,000 a year, you're in the top projectile of the United States. If you make just $100,000 a year,
Right.
Because most people don't make $100,000. Most people don't make $100,000 a year. If you have a business that's making you $100,000 a year profit, and you feel like you're not doing good, let me tell you now, for the people that don't realize it, you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing magnificent, because the average person in America today is not making $100,000. I don't know the numbers. I'm not a political major. I'm not none of that crap. I'm just a regular guy, and I could tell you from being a regular guy that there's not a lot of people making $100,000.
Right.
So
right.
if your business is doing that, you're good. So that's just something I wanted to, let our audience know. So you changed the thing. So now, you're single dad.
Yeah.
What's it like? What was it like through all of this, launching a business? So, because I've launched multiple businesses, but I'm married, and my wife she's very supportive. She's very wonderful, and she helps me through this.
Right.
I couldn't imagine launching a business, and not only launching a business, but taking a business that had a bad reputation and taking on that task and turning it around and being a single dad. What was that like?
Be honest, it was a little challenging, but I just brought my daughter to work with me. Basically, she grew up in a tattoo shop. Like, she was there every day. I'd leave the shop, pick her up from school. I'd come home, change clothes, get her some lunch. We'd go back to the shop, and she'd hang out at the tattoo shop with me all day, every day. And that's it. She'd get babysitted at the shop by all my employees, everybody there hanging out, and we did that until started getting pretty good. And then later in life, I met my current girlfriend, and then my daughter would start staying at home with her and stuff. But yeah, that whole time for years, she'd just come to the shop and hang out. But now, hell, she's becoming a great artist herself. She's probably going to be tattooing before I know it. That'd be her shop one day.
Yeah, when we went to dinner, I heard you say you were going to let her tattoo you.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah. I'm going to let her tattoo me this summer. Why not? I want to it's the memories, man.
Yeah. Where are you going to let her tattoo you at?
I don't know. Some of that doesn't hurt too bad. Maybe a leg or a forearm or something. You know what I mean?
What are you going to let her tattoo on you?
Whatever she wants. I don't care.
Oh, man.
I'll let her draw something up and just let her give it a shot. I don't care.
That's pretty cool.
But, really, my life's been pretty crazy. But the main turning point in my life, the one, you could say what turned everything around. So when I got arrested in West Virginia, and I'm sitting in the county jail, and I was in there going on 2 months, and I was sitting on my bunk one day, and I just had a conversation with Jesus. I was talking to God, and I was just like, let me out. I was like, I can do better than this. I'm better than this. Let me out. I'll be a good person. And that's legit. I just said it like to myself, to God. I was just like, I'm gonna be a good person. I was kind of mean before that. I was, you know what I mean? I wasn't the best person in the world, and so I was like, I'm gonna be nice to people. I'm gonna do things right. I'll be a good citizen. I want to be a good person. 11
years already, God. I learned my lesson.
I learned my lesson. I said, I'm gonna be an honest to God, good person. Yeah. And I said, let me prove it to you. Yeah. 2 days later, I got released from jail.
Wow.
With all my charges dropped. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's,
wow.
It's got to be divine intervention or something. I don't know. Maybe it's not, maybe it is. I personally believe it is, because at that point, I got out of jail and I started being nicer to people. I started being a better person. I used to be that guy in Walmart, somebody talk to you, like chatting in line. And I look at them all like, who are you? Why are you talking to me, dude? Like, get the hell away from me. And now I chat with them, be super nice and friendly. And I just found that after I started being more friendly and a better person, that my life changed for the positive. And it just, it got better every day. And so now I try to help more people. I try to do everything I can. I just be as positive as possible. And I feel like it's paying off big time.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's the way to be. That's
I
karma.
help everybody. I donate. I do all kinds of stuff. I feel like it comes back, man. Like a
Karma's
lot
real.
of people say stuff like that. You can call it karma. You can call it God. You can call it maybe just what you put out is what comes back in return. I mean, whatever. But it's just, you know what I mean. That's for me. It was I was talking to God, and I think He heard me.
That's so. There's the other. I'm just gonna. That's a good story. You're sitting in your jail cell. Are you at your bunk?
Yeah, I'm sitting on my bunk, broke.
11 years on the run,
waiting to go to prison.
Yeah. And you just ask Him, and it happens.
Yeah, I said, give me another chance. I said, I mean it. I'll do better.
And you meant it.
And hell, I quit smoking. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do nothing. Yeah. I work. I go home and take care of my kids. That's it. And I went from sitting just hella broke and in jail, waiting to go to prison, to having a business, making like $300,000 a year and driving a Hellcat, and
nice.
You know what I mean? Like life's good now, and you gotta stay positive.
And so now you got a baby on the way.
Yeah.
You got one on the way, and now you're up to how many kids now?
This will be our fifth child.
And this is with not the crazy lady, correct?
Correct, not the crazy one. This is my new girlfriend. She's great. Everything's going good.
Yeah, and so what do you have? What do you have planned for your future?
I like to open more tattoo shops. That's what I'm good at. You know what I mean? I like to stick with what I know. I'm not really sure where, but I will be expanding on that front. Then I might even try a couple other little businesses. I'm trying to solidify my current business. Like after 5 years, it's established, but every year we're making more and more money every year. Yeah. So I just want to keep putting money into that currently, so I can max that out. Once that place is maxed out, where I feel like it's, because certain businesses, you have a certain number of employees, you can only do so much. You will hit a ceiling at some point. Yes. And once I can get that business to that ceiling, then I can start devoting time and money towards another business. Yeah. Because I don't want to go into something halfway. I want to go in, and I got to be able to put 100% into it. So I got to make sure this one is 100% maxed out. It's going to run at 90% at least at the minimum. And then I'll be able to devote time and energy into another one, and then just keep growing. And then hopefully, I can have, 3 or 4 and maybe 5, and then give one to each kid. Yeah. When they grow up, let them have it. They can rename it if they want, and just give them a career.
You remind me of something my old MMA coach. So he was a big mentor in my life, because he would tell me I would have these don't do nothing if you're really passionate about something, you're either all the way in or you're not in.
Facts.
Or you're not passionate about it. It's not what you want. So that's a good message to talk to about. If the younger people that listen to this story, if y'all missed everything up to now, please take in that last part. Don't get into anything half-hearted. Don't get into anything just because you like the image of being an entrepreneur or business owner. If you get into something with, excuse my language, half-ass intentions, then you're going to get half-ass results.
Facts.
If you're going to do something, you're either all the way in or you're not in at all. Mm-hmm. And you can take that to the bank. Facts. So you're based out of Huntington, West Virginia.
Huntington, West Virginia.
And that's actually, for those of y'all don't know, West Virginia doesn't have a big population, but that's actually the second biggest city in West Virginia.
Yep.
And do you have a Facebook, Instagram, or any other kind of social media platforms where people could check out your parlor?
Yes. The name of the shop is Inked Revolution. We have an Instagram. It's Inked_Revolution. We do have a Facebook page. It's Inked Revolution Huntington. And you get on there, check out all of our work and stuff. We got a bunch of great artists. We got some great piercers down there. And we can do it all now. We've expanded nice and got the biggest shop in town, the nicest one in town.
Nice.
Yeah.
So and for those of you out there are interested, I'm gonna have Agan link. He'll tag all the links below so that you could check out his shop. I would like all y'all to go and check out his shop, check out his work. I hope y'all like the story. It's a great story. It just shows what you could go through and succeed through and make it through if you're just willing to put the work in. There's no excuses out there for anybody. If you want to be successful, you need to do like this man did in his cell, and you need to make that choice to be successful. He's a great example of what a young person can do in America today. And I often talk about this with older people. I say, if I had half the resources that these younger people had today, I'd be Bill Gates times 10. You
Right.
know, with all the resources that are out there today, there's no sense in for anybody not to be able to reach their goals. And I think you're a prime example of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll throw in there too. It never hurts to talk to God about your problems.
Yeah.
Talk to him if that's
Whoever
what
God
you're
you,
into.
whatever God you worship.
Fair, yeah.
Whatever God you worship.
You know, whichever. But faith does the help. I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of different religions, faiths out there. Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But it never hurts, man. Hey, you
I've
know,
heard that
some
message
people
a
don't
lot.
believe in it. Some people do. But if it's there, why not just see what it can do for you?
All right. So again, make sure you check out this is the Tell Me Your Story podcast. Make sure you check us out. We release weekly. We talk to interesting people who give us their real stories. These are all real stories, guys. We don't talk to people who are bringing fake messages. We talk to real people with real stories. Whether it's somebody who's had to spend weeks in a Mexican jail, or
Pooping in a hole in the corner.
whether it's in a world-class MMA athlete, or maybe it's a entrepreneur from a small town in Mississippi. We're gonna talk to everybody, and you can always comment. You could always reach out to us. Again, check the link below. Our email's in the link below. Tell Me Your Story podcast with the S after the D in podcast at gmail.com. Send us your story, and maybe we'll talk. If you're willing to come out to the Denver area and you want a platform to put your story on, send us your story. Just remember, if you send us your story, we're going to want it to be a real story. You need documentation. You need proof. You can't just come over here with the lion's tail.
Right.
We're not just some people who are just going to put anybody out there to tell fake stories. We want stories from real people, because when you're out with your friends, when you're talking on the phone or you're visiting people, what is your favorite pastime? What are you doing? You're telling stories with each other. You're reminiscing. When you're at work and you're getting ready to go out on shift, you're telling stories about what this guy did on this shift, what this guy did on that shift. So that's why we have this podcast for you, so you can hear stories from great people like the man sitting next to me right now, or woman, man or woman. But make sure you reach out to us. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Until next time, this is C-Rod. Thank you for joining us.